Hi everyone, this is Leah with Scott Leroy Marketing, and in today's tip video I'm going to show you what the new and improved Dotloop homepage looks like and how you can go about creating a new loop in this new Dotloop homepage. Now you'll notice when you log in to dotloop.com, if you'd like to follow along with me, feel free, you can always pause the video and do this on your screen as well. You'll want to log in to dotloop.com to access your account. And where we're going to focus our attention on is on this black toolbar here that says click here for early access to the new and improved loops page. So let's go ahead and click on where it says click here, underlined in white, to switch to that new Dotloop homepage view. Now this new homepage view is just in the beta testing phase, so it's not officially launched quite yet. However, it's a great thing to start playing with and starting to get used to so that when Dotloop does officially convert your homepage over, you won't be caught off guard and you'll be feeling familiar with the new Dotloop homepage. Now, as you're playing around with it, you can always switch back to the normal Dotloop homepage view that you're used to seeing. And you would do that by clicking on either your initials on the top right in a circle, or if you have your headshot added in, that'll be in a circle on the top right of your Dotloop homepage, and you can always click Switch to Old Dotloop near the bottom of that drop down there. And that'll take you back to the view that you're used to seeing. Now the good news is with this new Dotloop homepage view is most of the navigation is staying the exact same. And if you were to click on any one of these loops, it would look like you're used to seeing. Okay, so it's really just the home page that'll be changing and really just the design. It's not even the navigation. Most of that is pretty similar, if not exactly the same. Now just to point out some differences, of course the coloring is different with the white and light blue instead of the red and black we're used to seeing. And of course our loops are in more of a square here instead of the circles of the loops that we're used to seeing. But navigationally, there really isn't a whole big difference. So you'll notice on the top right, these are the same exact icons that you're used to seeing on the top right of your Dotloop homepage. You will notice that add to loop or add loop here, that blue button on the top right, that's changed slightly on where that is. Something that I do really like on this new Dotloop homepage view is the addition of the search bar, no matter what view you're on. So this search bar, as you start to be getting lots of loops because you're selling tons of properties, this search bar right here will allow you to search by address, title, MLS number, etc., as you can see there, so that you can quickly find the loop that you're looking for to make your Dotloop experience a little more efficient. Right, so that is a great feature that they've added in. On the far right here, I just want to point out there's also some option with filters. You'll notice right now I have some filters on, but if I were to click on that, right, it does show you, and this is actually the filters I would recommend keeping on to help organize your Dotloop homepage view. You can pick up to 9 in these statuses. I'll show you where you can change that on your loop in just a moment here. But the main ones I would recommend keeping unchecked are the archive loops. Okay, and archived is essentially the same as deleting in Dotloop. There's really not a way to delete anything in Dotloop. You can only archive it, which essentially hides it from your Dotloop homepage. So we don't need to be seeing archive loops. We don't need to be seeing sold loops or done loops, right? So we can check all the other ones to help organize your Dotloop homepage view and simply click Save. Just a quick tip while we're on that matter, if you ever lose a loop, as I mentioned, you can't delete anything from Dotloop, so don't worry, your loop is in there, but you can imagine the panic of losing a loop. All right, if you ever do experience that, feel free to come up to filters right here. You would just click clear on the bottom here, and that would pull up all your loops so you can find that right away. In this case, I'm going to leave those 3 unchecked, and I'll click Save. I apologize, you'll actually want to click Apply instead to apply those filters right away to your loops. And that will make any loop with the filter of archived or sold disappear from your Dotloop homepage. Now how you can control your filters is actually right from here. So you'll notice if you have a loop in here, you might see the type is none, for example. And you will need to change the type first. So if I change that first option of type to, let's say, listing for sale, once I do that, it will then give me the option to change the status of that loop from none to whichever that might be. And if I don't want that loop to display anymore, I can always select sold or archived, because those are the loops that with the statuses that I told Dotloop not to show me anymore. Okay, so you can select that archive to make that loop disappear. Right? You will need to refresh your page for that to actually take effect, but that is how you can organize your Dotloop homepage view. Now on the top right here, I'm just going across this toolbar here. I do like the sort feature that it has for you. And you can sort by a plethora of different items here that you would want your loop to the top. My personal favorite is the last updated option. That will of course show the loop that I last updated at the very top of my list. Just a heads up for that, if you're ever searching for a loop, this icon to the right of that will take whatever you have in this box and sort it in ascending or descending order, depending on how many times you click that. So also helping with your organization of your Dotloop homepage and finding your loops. And lastly, on the far right here, we do have that icon that does look like a list. And if I click on that, it'll switch this new Dotloop homepage view to the list view. So this is different than the grid view, and you can always change back and forth by clicking on that icon on the top right here. And really, from what I've seen, all the features are the same depending on which view that you choose. It's really just you're picking which one you would rather look at. Okay, so that's totally up to you. All the features do appear to be the same no matter which view you pick, but that can always be changed back and forth on the top right here. Now we will be going over in just a moment here, adding a new loop in this new Dotloop homepage view, and that is the biggest difference that I have seen in this new Dotloop homepage. So hold tight, we'll get to there in just a moment. I just want to overview these icons on the top right here. These are the exact same as the traditional Dotloop homepage you're used to looking at, but just a reminder of what each one of those does. So that reporting icon on the top of your screen there, that'll show you all your stats for your Dotloop. So that'll show you year-to-date sales and so forth on that first icon. Moving to the right, and you can see which one is selected now, which is pretty cool. And that'll be your loops icon. So that's the one we're currently clicked on. Looks like a smiley face with no eyes, which I think is kind of funny. All right, and that'll always take you back to your Dotloop homepage view. So if you're ever lost in the system or just need to get back home, this is your best friend right here. Moving to the right, we do have the tasks icon. And so what that is, you can create to-do lists for yourself in the system, and we do have a tip video on how to create to-do lists in each one of your loops. All right, feel free to email us at support@scottleroymarketing.com if you would like that tip video. I'd be happy to send that over. You can also go to slmtips.com to view that tip video and lots of other tip videos. But this task icon at the top of our screen here, that'll show you an overarching view of all the items that you have on your to-do list and each of your loops cumulatively. So it's kind of like an umbrella view of all of your to-do lists. Moving to the right, we do have the people section, and that will show you any people that have been added to your loops, any people that you've worked with within Dotloop. To the right, this is a really important one, your templates. Right? So this is where your Market Center staff adds all of the forms that you need for your transactions. If you ever need to print off blank forms or access those, you would do that from the template section on the top right. And lastly, we of course do have either your initials or your headshot on the top right. And that'll allow you to access your account settings. Right? So if you need to access any of that, update that information, you'll see My Account right here. And you'll also see your member ID. Cool tip on that, if you ever call the Dotloop support number, which is right here, and on the bottom of every page in Dotloop, if you put in your member ID when prompted, it'll move you to the very front of the support line because you are a Keller Williams premium member. Pretty awesome. All right, so let me show you where things get interesting, and that is creating a new loop. So you'll see on the far right, there is the option to add loop, that blue button there. And let's go ahead and go through that process so you can see how this differs. So again, we are clicking Add Loop, that light blue button on the top right. And you'll see it walks you through steps 1 through 4 to adding a new loop. Now it tells you really what to do on each page. So unsure of the property address, you can put in the client's name for now, but you can always change it later. So yeah, that just a heads up, we do always want to name our loops the property address, if at all possible. But of course, if you're representing the buyer, you can always put in the buyer's name right now and change that in the future. So as I'm typing in the property address, you'll notice that it does suggest different addresses as you start to type that in. Now the reason it does that, you might have wondered that in the past. So if you are a buyer's agent making an offer on a listing, you might want to select the option that displays if you see that. And I know it's the correct one because it'll have the MLS number and it'll also show you the listing agent. The benefit in selecting one from the drop down here, if that is the correct property, is it will autofill your loop with a lot of the property details information, and also when you make an offer on that listing agent's loop, it will put that offer directly into that agent's loop in a new folder. If you've been using Dotloop for a little while, you might have experienced getting 2 loops if another agent makes an offer on your listing, and that can be confusing. So this right here mitigates that 2-loop situation. You do not have to click one of the options that displays. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a practice loop for an address here, if you'd like to do the same. And if I don't want to select one of these, I can just go ahead and click Continue on the bottom right. Once I do that, it might push you over to select a template. Now these templates, these are loop templates that are put into your account by your office staff. So if you don't have any templates to select, there's nothing wrong with your account. Your office staff just doesn't have that set up quite yet. But if you do have that available, I would highly recommend picking a template. You might be able to scroll down to see all the different templates here. Now what this is, if you select one of these templates, it will pull in all the initial forms that you need to get going on your loop. So it cuts out a lot of work, so it's definitely beneficial to select a template if you have that option. And I'll go ahead and click Continue on the bottom right here. All right, and it'll give you the option to upload a photo. Now this will add the photo to the very top of your loop. So what I would recommend, if it is your listing, you probably had some photos taken of your listing, maybe professionally or even with your iPhone. Okay, so you can add that in here. Or alternatively, if it is the buyer you're representing and they're purchasing a home, go grab a picture off of the MLS, save it to your computer, and you can add it here. So to do that, just so you can see what that looks like, I'm going to click Upload a Photo. It will browse my computer, so I can search for the listing photos on my computer. I can double click, and that will bring it in. Now, we'll only show a sliver of the home here, and that's fine. Just a heads up, it is beneficial for you to take the 20 seconds it took for me to do that. Dotloop says that if you add a photo in here, the client is 5 times more likely to use you again or refer you out because they think, wow, that agent created a personalized website for me to sign my forms on it. So it does personalize their experience, and it's apparently worth that time to add that in. So once I add that, I'll go ahead and click Done on the bottom right. And that will take me to officially create my loop. All right, so that'll show me my new loop where I can change the status here. Is going to be pre-listing in this example. You'll see you have lots of different options to change that status to. And again, those statuses are really helpful with organizing your Dotloop homepage, as we saw near the beginning of this tip video. And you can also put in a price of the home. Oh, I clicked enter, and so it brought me right into my loop, but you could do that by clicking on the bottom right, that button that says go into loop, whatever that might say, and then it'll take you into your loop. And I think you'll be happy to notice that once I'm in my actual loop, it looks the exact same that I'm used to seeing. right? So it's just the Dotloop homepage that'll be changing, right? And how to create a loop is changing slightly, but once you click into anything or access a loop, it will look the exact same. Alright guys, so that is a quick tip on the new Dotloop homepage view and how to create a loop in that new view. Of course, you can switch back to that old Dotloop homepage view by clicking on loops on the top of your screen. Just one more time. Alright, so that icon that says loops, and then you can always switch back by clicking on either your initial or your headshot on the top right and selecting switch to old Dotloop. If you have any questions at all on this, please feel free to let us know. You can email us at support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we're happy to help you through this. Alright guys, I hope that was helpful, and happy looping!